All right, human beings, fellow human beings, I'm going to do some preaching. We all preach. People say they're not political. That's not true. You are political. Even if you're not involved, you're part of the community. And not being involved, that's your political stand, is to not be a part of it. The decision making, self-determination, which most of the world believes in, this idea of democracy. I don't want people telling me, you do this, you do that, that's a slave. A dictator, a tyrant, king. We fought and died against that 250 years ago. I was just, Ken Burns' American Revolution on PBS is really good. The Battle of Long Island. Washington made some major mistakes, especially early in the war. He had some great characteristics. But, he wasn't the military mind. And they were lucky to get off that island with as many troops as they did. What did King George have? 20,000 troops, or 24,000, and 8,000 were hired mercenaries, Hessians. They were fighting so many places for their empire. The king wants an empire. My God, we're telling Greenland we're going to take it over. Maybe Canada. Isn't that crazy? We should say, man, that's crazy. I don't want a leader telling other countries we're going to take you over. We're going to celebrate 250 years of independence, but then try to take over other countries. Sounds like a liar, a schizophrenic. No. Turn away from that shit. Okay, this is supposed to be positive. I wanted to do something positive because I felt good. I wanted to help other people feel good. So, the title of this is You Can Do It. You can do it. And we can do it. Two things. I walked up the Thistle Steps today. I'm down here on Fauntleroy, by the ferries in Seattle. I used to live around here. It's really nice. And it's got a bus system. The Sea Line bus is what I use, so I don't need a car. I mean, you have to put up with waiting for the bus and being on the bus, but that's part of life, man. And the extremely mentally ill people, they're part of the community. We've decided to cut programmings and services for them, so it's gotten worse. Homelessness. We all would be severely mentally ill if we're living on the streets for a month. Probably a week, I don't know. Thank God, I don't know. When I washed clothes for the homeless over a year back in Fayetteville. I remember this one guy, he was in his 30s, I think. He had played college baseball. Nice guy. But he came in one day and he was shook, man. He was shook. I never seen him like that. Upset. He slept under a bridge. I remember him telling me that. And I don't know if it was just the terror of that or something else, but he was... That's what I'm saying. I'm getting tired of these people saying, Oh, some of them won't even take housing. Well, most of them would. And the ones that wouldn't may be severely mentally ill, and with services and medical help, people can't live on the street. They can't live on the sidewalk. They can't live in your front yard. For everybody's sake, we're in this together. So, back to my story. The Thistle steps are pretty steep. I did them 2 days ago. Slow, held onto the rail, and I walked over to the library on 35th, and then took the bus back. And I was kind of proud of myself. So, 2 days later, I want to do it again. And I did. And I didn't have to stop, and I didn't have to hold the rail, so I was stronger. It was awesome. I'm not saying I was moving fast. I wasn't moving fast. But I was moving uphill. And I'll tell you how it's uphill. If you've ever been to Seattle, it's pretty hilly. And what do I mean by that? Okay, you go up Thistle to 38th, 39th. This is pretty special. If you look west, you see the Olympics. Turn around, look east, you see the Cascades. You can see 2 mountain ranges, man. Wow. And looking west at the Olympics, you can see Puget Sound. Maybe a ferry. I mean, so nice. And we can do it. Nobody does anything by themselves. I'm a self-made man. What the hell does that mean? You built this country, you built these streets, you built the schools that you went to as a kid, you grew all the food that you've ever eaten, you're self-made. Yeah, that's bullshit. We need to be more humble and gracious and thankful. Self-made. That's a lie. A lot of these really rich people got lucky, whether it was in energy or whether it was in technology. They came along at the right time and caught that wave. There you go. And I don't want you to starve, but I don't want you to have billions of dollars, because that's probably making somebody else starve. We're in this together, like this. That's what global warming is teaching us. We're all like this. We're a world together. If the climate changes in one area, it's going to change in another. If poisons and radioactivity go into the atmosphere, it may blow over your country too. We can't just isolate ourselves. We shouldn't anyway, but you can't if you're dealing with climate change and worldwide issues. What did I say? We can do it. Be good to each other. Be kind. Encourage each other. I like it up here. I say thanks to the bus driver when I get off, but other people do too. It's been said about Portland. I've been in Portland, and not everybody, but just this idea of the bus driver. He's taking care of all of us, driving us around. And I know some people don't give a shit about that. They don't give a shit about anything except themselves. They're some of the worst citizens, worst people, influences. The best ones want to appreciate each other and are committed to each other, dedicated to Don't wave the flag if you're not dedicated to the whole country of 335 million, however many there are. I remember when I was a teacher, the bus driver was talking to me once, and he goes, "I could never do your job. You know, all those kids all day long." I told him, I said, "Man, I could never do your job. Drive a bus with everybody behind me, and it's gigantic. You don't know what the kids are doing." I was like, "No, I wouldn't do what you're doing." We're all essential workers. We're all essential spirits. We need essential wages. We need essential housing. We need essential wealth to live a good and decent life. We're all essential. You need to vote like that. Republicans cut taxes on the rich every time. Is that what you want? You working people? They're getting richer and richer. Part of the reasons we're cutting their taxes. Is that what you want? Well, that's what you're voting for. Democrats say we need to raise taxes on the rich. Yeah, that's one reason I'm a Democrat, no doubt about it. Equality. There's a good word. Equality. We need to be more equal. That will help build community. A sense of belonging. Not like you're taking advantage of me. You're paying me. When I was washing dishes, 1988, $4 an hour. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. I met a lady on Thistle, walking to the library after I got to the top of the hill, thank God. She was wearing a hijab, is it called hijab, on her head. And I've lived in Morocco, and so I know some Arabic. So I'm walking by her, and she's waiting for the bus. And I said, "Salam alaikum." She said, Salam alaikum. Alaikum salam. You just turn it around. Peace to you. Peace be on you. You know, it's a nice greeting. And then I said, Kaifa haliki. If you ask a woman, how you doing? Kaifa haliki. A man, you would say, Kaifa halik. She might have said something, you know, like good, and I said, Alhamdulillah, you know, all praise to God. And she was nice, and she liked the idea that I knew some Arabic, so we talked for a while. It's a really nice conversation. She'll be the person I talk to the most today, because I'm here alone. We can connect in different places. You can connect at the library, at the grocery store, on the bus, on the street. Just be kind to each other. Maybe that's where you interact in our, you know, humanity. But you need to get out. You need that. We all need humanity to share it. So get out if you're all alone. Get out. Be good for you. She reminded me, shukran, thank you. And I said, shukran bezef, thanks a lot. And she thought that was okay. Did I tell her the story? I think I did. I was in Marrakesh in a cab. Well, anyway, I didn't tell her some of the story. I was in a cab in Marrakesh, and I go, shukran bezef, thanks a lot. And one guy goes, no, just say shukran. You know, don't give me that bullshit. Shukran bezef, just shukran. But the next taxi driver, I said shukran bezef, and he goes, no, shukran zazaland. You know, some people are friendly, some people aren't. It doesn't matter if you're in Morocco or Arkansas or every country. has friendly people and unfriendly people, greedy people and loving people. You got to make a government that stands up for everybody, a commitment to everybody. There's also a term, it's called self-care. I learned that as a hospice volunteer. Some volunteers, have a patient and the patient will die. Give me another patient. They're like, no, you need to be without a patient for a month or two, and it may be unconscious self-care, getting what's your life beyond volunteering. A lot of times I think self-care too, they're talking to the nurses, the hospice nurses, who are angels. Angels. I'm going to recommend a few things. So, I've been here, anyway, I'm here for a month. Found one book I read once in a while. It's by John Lennon's best friend. It sounds like his best friend from when they were little kids. It's kind of, I like it. I like the way it's written. And I learned some stuff. These guys in the middle, especially Lennon and McCartney, I'm going to say they're the greatest songwriters ever. Why? Because they have 100 hits. You young people, the Beatles. All I'm saying is they have the most good songs or the most great songs. At least 50. Those two guys. And I think this is correct. Lennon's mother died when he was 16. McCartney's mother died when he was 14. They lived in the same town. All these guys. Maybe not Ringo, but they knew each other from teenagers. I think Lennon was 1 or 2 years older than McCartney, and McCartney was 1 or 2 years older than Harrison. McCartney said, hey, this guy's pretty good at lead guitar, and neither one of them knew how to play lead. And Lennon, it's kind of like, how old is he? Like 14 or whatever? But he was good. The book doesn't Lennon's mom, Lennon hardly ever knew his dad. His dad wasn't a very good guy, even. They met, I think, after he was famous, but anyway, it didn't work. But his mom was kind of loose, goofy, happy. But John lived with his Aunt Mimi over here, and it was only like half a mile away is where his mother lived. So he's living with his aunt while his mother is half a mile away. But he would visit. I'm sure they loved each other. And then I'm sure John, it sounded like, from this guy. Oh, I mean, what a sad, your dad wasn't around, your mom, you didn't live with your mom. Jesus Christ. But they had a good relationship. And he even stayed there sometimes when his Aunt Mimi was upset with him, or he was pretty wild. So was this other guy. She was hit by a car. One of Lennon's friends saw it, It was sad. But he hardly talks about it in the book, and he'll say, John hardly talked about it at all. I think this guy told him, I'm sorry about your mom, and Lennon said something, and that was about it. Anyway, that tragedy, I'm sorry for your tragedy. You've had some. I've had some. These two in the middle somehow got through it and became the greatest songwriters ever. We can do it too. So I'm going to recommend just a couple more things. I've read a lot in the last few years on the American Revolution. I really like. I'm going to recommend the HBO series John Adams, especially the first couple hours. I would show that to my government classes when I was a teacher. Really well done. There's another movie I would show to my classes, Taking Chance. This Marine that worked in a office that felt like, man, I need to do something that's more of a service. So he took a Marine that had died back to his parents. Sad. Real. Honorable. I was going to say, so I was at another place, I don't know, 2 weeks, maybe just a week, but I was by myself. So the book they had was on Steve Jobs. Forget the author, he's really good. It's a really good book. I didn't come away from it liking Steve Jobs as a person. People say, oh, he's a genius, so he was really good at certain things, yeah. And he came around at the right time. And he had Wozniak as the brainiac engineer. And I guess Gates had Paul Allen as the brainiac engineer. Anyway, I'd recommend this. This is on YouTube, I think, from TNT back in the day. It's called Pirates of Silicon Valley. I would show that to my classes when we studied the Industrial Revolution. You have Wozniak and Jobs on the West Coast, and you had Paul Allen and Gates on the East Coast. This is right when it was all happening. And they're manipulative and they're out for themselves, and they can step on a lot of people along the way to get what they want. I should give them more credit than I do, but just the way they treated some people hits me wrong. Is there anything else I wanted to say? Well, I just lost that. So, watching the American Revolution, Ken Burns, HBO or PBS, you just think about government and what we deserve. The Virginia Declaration of Rights, which I think happened before the Declaration of Independence. But this Declaration of Rights, our rights, my rights, our rights. It's 2026, baby. So I'm kind of writing a song, but this is some ideas. Our Declaration of Rights. Rights. Food, water, housing, energy, speech, press, religion, assembly, due process, voting access. I should have put safety too. Now, if we create a society where people have these things, we look at them as everybody deserves a home, maybe not a palace, maybe nobody deserves a palace. But if everybody has the basic needs of life, you're going to see crime go down. People will be happier. They won't be as desperate. We'll probably be more loving if we're not as greedy. taxes, cut my taxes. And yeah, some of you guys are struggling, but a lot of people are way up here, multimillionaires and billionaires, saying, cut my taxes. Like, Jesus, what? You know you're not here alone. You know, we are your brothers and sisters, whether you want to admit it or not. And you're a part of the community, even though you think you're above it. You are not. We are not above you, and you are not above us. Matthew 25, 35 to 40, I think. How you treat the least of mine is how you treat me. I learned that when I was working with the homeless. I'm not a Christian, but I like that teaching. It's a good teaching. Just want to be good. Friendly, honorable, a little kooky like most guys. Funny, have some fun. Help those without. Get rid of poverty. Get rid of it. We can make good and decent public housing with green space that's safe and affordable. And like a lot of other countries, people can buy their apartment. You may not have a home with a yard. Everybody can't have that. People can have apartments. Now these hedge funds and private equity firms, the Dow's at 50,000, people are so proud of that. 50,000. You have to understand that 90% of the stocks are owned by 10% of the people. Yeah, there's some people with 401ks and such. And I have a teacher's retirement. That's really invested in the market. But that doesn't make it right. Does not make it right. All for one, one for all. If you want to be richer than your brother, richer than your sister, and you don't care if that means they have to live in poverty, then you have a spiritual sickness. If that's our government, then our country has a spiritual sickness. We don't need that. That will infect everybody. Don't think just because you have money, but your society is sick, that somehow you're going to be on your damn little island somewhere. No. You almost want to do the opposite of what the president does. You don't want to tell lies. You don't want to be greedy. You don't want to be racist and hateful. You want to bring people together instead. Tell everybody they're worthy. You are worthy. We are all worthy of great love, great community. We deserve it. That's my Declaration of Rights. 2026, baby. We can do great things. We can do great things. We just have to want it. Good-hearted. Naturally, we are naturally good-hearted. Let that flow. As a citizen, as a human being, and our communities will flower and shine. Shine on, baby.